Hey guys, welcome back to the Kool-Aid Podcast. Welcome back to another episode, Season 5, Episode 3. And today I have a really special guest, Barça Reaction. He's been on the channel before, guys, but it's going to be exciting to have him on as a guest. Jonas, what is up, brother? How are you feeling, my guy?
Yeah, man, I'm doing good. You know what I'm saying? Everything blessed. Listen, bro, everything with Barcelona. I always say Barcelona doesn't matter. Well, when we're good or bad, there's always so much news. The fan base, let's be honest, bro. We have such a big fan base, it's always gonna be reactionary. Or is Barca back? I'm saying after Elche, but then the nightmare after El Clasico.
No.
But listen, man, I'm doing well, right? Barcelona at the end of the day, November just started, right? But listen, I'm doing good, man. I'm happy to be here.
That's super amazing. But guys, before we get started on the video, I just want to preface that this will be on Apple Podcasts and on Spotify. So if you do prefer to listen to this podcast on those platforms, feel free. I will be posting it through there. And as well, Jonas's social media accounts, his YouTube channel, all his socials will be posted down below. Absolutely amazing Barcelona content as well. So make sure to go check him out over there. But on the docket tonight, I want to talk about some Barcelona news. Raphinha snubbed from the FIFA Pro World XI. Harry Kane to Barcelona. What's the latest in regards to that? That's something that actually was shocking when I first saw it. And then towards the end of the video, I do want to be talking about Etta Eyong, the Leventis striker, who's absolutely doing amazing at Leventis so far this season. But starting off. And I know that Barcelona, they just played against Elche, but just very quickly, thoughts on Barcelona victory over Elche?
Yeah, so the game, I'm not gonna lie. So for me, obviously the performance wasn't amazing, right? I don't think, listen, I thought it was better offensively. I thought Barcelona, a lot of people are saying, well, Elche could have done this and that. Well, Barcelona also, let's be real. Yes, I know Elche, they hit the post twice, I believe, crossbar and post. Barcelona on the flip side, Rashford, how many counterattacks did he kind of mess up? He got his goal, but it could have been a lot more. Same with Lamine Yamal. Lamine Yamal left with one goal. He could have had got a brace. Rashford could have got a hat trick. So I think that, to be honest, I think offensively it was a solid cameo, right? A very good first half. But the game overall, the defense, is the same issues once again. Barcelona wide open. And I guess what bothered a lot of people was that the possession. Elche had more possession than Barcelona, and you could kind of feel it, especially in that second half. Elche had more of the ball. But overall, I'm like, I'm a person that I'm very critical, but I'm like, yo, we don't have Pedri Gonzalez. We have so many injuries, and Pedri's the one. He's our one dictator, our one controller, right? We've lost him. So I'm like, I'm being a bit less critical. I'm not trying to drop the standards. We gotta win, but as
No.
long as we get the results, I don't really mind us playing like 5-star amazing performances. Like, but I understand a lot of people's frustration. That's what I'll put.
Okay. Okay. I do believe that that game, there was some element of frustration because, when Elche they did score that goal and they were, getting the ball and having that possession, you were thinking, is this a game that is going to slip through our hands? Because there was lots of moments in that match where it could have gone either way. Elche, they hit the post a couple of times. Raphinha, he could have walked away in that game with a hat trick, and things could have been very different. In regards to the possession, I'm not too upset necessarily because Elche, they are, top three among the La Liga teams in regards to possession and everything. Just sharing it really quickly, just so you guys can see. Let me share my screen really quickly. But these are the teams in La Liga with the most average possession. Obviously, you have Barcelona, Real Madrid, but in third place you have Elche, and so Elche have ending the game with more possession than Barcelona. I'm not too stressed, but it is something to just say, hey, this Barcelona isn't perfect. We are going to be improving throughout the season. And there's things to be working on and everything, but Barcelona get the win, they get the 3 points, and we move on.
But you know what it is? I just have to say this real quick.
Yeah,
Like in the Classical, we had more possession. Like the
yeah,
possession doesn't mean that you win the game. So
yeah.
like I know maybe it's because it's Elche, because it's a small club that people are saying how could at home we get dominated in periods, but it's like. Man, we lost Pedro Gonzalez. We have so many guys out. We have
Yeah.
look at our injury list, man. Look at the guys who are on our bench. And I'm like, okay, I'm critical on this team. Everybody knows that. Like, if you've
Yeah.
ever seen my content, I'm pretty critical. Some people call me negative. I'm not negative, but when this team loses, I'm pretty sad, right? I'm not mad at this performance. It's disappointing, but we got the 3 points, and let's move on. That's my idea.
No, exactly, exactly. But that's a good segue. That's a good segue because now I want to be talking. One of the key players from Barcelona's past season that was so crucial, and I want to be talking about like his lack of nomination in the FIFA Pro World 11. Now, he was snubbed. He wasn't in the lineup. And first, I don't give too much importance to these type of awards and everything, but at the same time, it is sort of a merit to a player for the amazing season that they've had. And this is something that's happened, previously before. You really haven't seen Rafinha get the love that he appreciates, snubbed in the Ballon d'Or, not ranked fifth. A lot of people were saying that he should have even won the award. But thoughts on first the World 11. First, is there any players that shouldn't be there? And secondly, what do you make of Rafinha's lack of involvement in the lineup?
Yeah, I mean, I saw this earlier today, right? I don't think Bellingham and Cole Palmer should be there. I think, listen, you put Raphinha in for Cole Palmer, and you put, for me, Moses Caicedo in for Jude Bellingham, and that's the perfect lineup. I mean, you could see they have Vitinha playing left wing. I
Yeah.
don't know, like it looks like they just try to shoehorn Bellingham. Like, and what did he do last year? That's my like one thing.
No.
But it's like you're shoehorning Bellingham in, but you're not shoehorning Raphinha, who actually was amazing last year. So for me, I'm looking at it. Mbappe, to be fair, does deserve it.
Yeah.
Dembele, Yamal, Nuno, Van Dijk, everybody's here was amazing except for Bellingham and Palmer for me. So
No.
I think those two guys, you definitely gotta have Rafinha in there. I think, Kool-Aid Podcast. I think Rafinha, man, it's like I genuinely did not think the disrespect would be this much. And I know it's
Yeah.
voted by players, this one, a
No.
journalist for the Ballon d'Or, but like fifth in the Ballon d'Or, I thought he would be third and at worst fourth if you have Vitinha over him. I
Mm-hmm.
did not see a world where Mo Salah was going to be over him. So I was like, that's unbelievable. And Rafinha, again, this is crazy. This one's actually crazy because there's 11 guys in here. There's definitely a way you can shoehorn 5 attackers, 4 attackers. Rafinha definitely should be on here. And I don't know what to say. Maybe it's the PR. I don't really buy into these awards, but it's just it's disappointing for Raphinha. It might be a forgotten season just because of the lack of nominations, which is kind of sucks, man.
Yeah, no, no, I completely agree. When we look at Rafinha's numbers throughout the season, when you look at some of the highlights, La Liga Player of the Season, top UCL goal scorer, tied with Girassi, top assister, won the domestic treble, scoring 35 goals across, all competitions. Well, 38 right here with when you include the international one. But there's so much that Rafinha has done, throughout the season. You see the goals that he has scored. Look at the amount of goals that he scored against Real Madrid and his goals
That's
contributions.
crazy, bro.
But
I call him the El Clasico killer because, bro,
yes,
when he's running down, bro, on Chouameni last year, it was over, man. Like I already knew he was gonna. Remember that the Spanish Super Cup, the second
yes,
goal at the start of the second half, I believe.
yeah,
Bro, Rafinha was a monster last year. I'm
yeah.
not gonna even lie, man. He was
No,
unbelievable.
he was absolutely ridiculous, and he was putting, Messi and Ronaldo numbers, in the UCL being so clutch. When you're looking at the games that he's performing against Bayern Munich, against Borussia Dortmund, against Benfica, against Atalanta, and he's putting up big numbers. And for him, not to at least be nominated or just in the lineup is just it's absolutely ridiculous. And I completely agree with you, in regards to who should be involved in there. Obviously, with PSG winning the Champions League, you do expect a majority of PSG players being there. So I have no harm against Hakimi or Mendes, Vitinha, or
Yeah.
Donnarumma being in there. I think they're all merited. I completely agree with you. I think this would have been a very, I would say, lackluster year for Jude Bellingham. I don't know why he's in there. I would move Vitinha central, put Rafinha out there on the left. Cole Palmer, I sort of understand that because Chelsea, they did win the Club World Cup, and he was, their standout player in the tournament. And then up top, it's very difficult to unnerve anyone there. Lamine Yamal second in the Ballon d'Or, Dembele winning it, and Mbappe, the Golden Boot winner. So
Yeah, no, I mean, no, but you know what it is with the Rafinha is that I just want to say this. I'm actually proud of Rafinha overall.
yeah,
Like I always say, like when people say who's the best player at Barca, I always say Lamine Yamal. But Like Raphinha has absolutely turned his career around at FC Barcelona. I remember the fan. Listen, I liked Raphinha even before all the GA came. When he was a Xavi, I liked him because he always. I didn't feel like he was cheating the Barca fans. I always felt like Raphinha was giving his all, and sometimes the inconsistency was just there, and he was messing up the final pass and the final shot. But yo, under Flick, the guy is getting it down, and that's something about Raphinha. I never hated Raphinha. When a lot of people were frustrated with him, I was like, guys, if listen, I still rather sell. I said it because I'm a guy who I'm blunt, man. Like I'll say I'll sell Fati, I'll sell even a Ferran Torres before Raphinha. Raphinha has turned his season, like his not season, his career around.
Yeah.
People look at Raphinha as a top 15 player in the world. Like that was not the case under Xavi, and
Hmm.
when he just came here. So I'm proud of the guy, man. Like what a signing, honestly, 2 league titles and hopefully more, man.
No, absolutely. When you think about, where he came from, first playing with Leeds and everything, but his time at Barcelona, he spoke about it in length. He was mentioning how he had doubts about continuing here. He had doubts on whether he wanted to stay. There were interests from abroad, and he was actually looking at the offers and analyzing them. And it was Hansi Flick who put his trust into the Brazilian, and that's when he had his best career so far, and he's been able to. I like the word that you said. Be Barcelona's most clutch player, because when you talk about best player, you're looking at Lamine Yamal for the magic that he's able to create. But when you're talking about consistency and clutch, that's where Rafinha comes about. And it's a shame
Hey,
that he has been injured this season.
and what was the game? I know we lost the tie. It was the Araujo red card, but
Yeah.
that tie, it changed everything for me with Rafinha. Because I was like, okay, we learned something when the going got tough. Away at Paris, Rafinha stepped up, and we haven't had a guy step up in the UCL since Lionel Messi. So I was like, just the fact that in a huge game, right? Barcelona were actually slight underdogs against Paris Saint Germain in that tie, and he was unbelievable in the first leg, and even the second leg. He gets the early goal, even when we were down to 10 men. The way that he was running, like on the counterattack, just it genuinely felt like that tie we let down Rafinha, man. Even the
Yeah.
Inter Milan a little bit. That should have been his moment. That would have been. I always say it.
Yeah.
How do we hang on to that Inter Milan tie? That would have been one of the best nights in our history. Like, actually, look
Yeah.
at the comeback. Inter Milan down to the
Exactly.
home, and you do that, and then we concede. It's like, man, bro. But Rafinha, I like him because when the going gets tough, he is gonna step up. That's
Yeah.
genuinely why I like him,
Yeah.
man.
No, and I like all this praise that it has been going his way, because he's a player who I believe was underrated by even some Barcelona fans, because as NJ sends his comment, a lot of Barcelona fans, they were even pushing Lamine Yamal to win the Ballon d'Or, and even from this Barcelona fan base, where there wasn't the support and appreciation for what Rafinha has done, so far this season. And so looking at Rafinha so far, him being injured, do you think that he's going to be able to replicate or get to that level this season, or do you think, hey, the injuries, could play a part? Maybe it was like a one-time thing. What level do you see Rafinha being at this season?
I mean, I think this injury, like, it's gonna sound weird, but the expectations are a bit lower because nobody. Okay, you got injured. Nobody's expecting these crazy monster stats, right? But I still believe he's gonna have a decent year. I think one thing we know is that Raphinha works under Flick, like defensively and offensively.
Yeah.
I do think he's gonna put up numbers, but not maybe half, which is still not bad, man. I mean, if Raphinha gets like 20 goals this season, I'm not mad. He's been injured with some time, right? Next year maybe he can be better. But for me, to be fair, I have to be real. I was one of the Barcelona fans that said Lamine Yamal over Raphinha in the Ballon d'Or. But that does not mean I hate Raphinha. It's he's still very important. Like let's not do this like one player versus other. Like, yes, in the Ballon d'Or technically it happens naturally, but Raphinha, I still love the guy, but I just prefer Lamine Yamal because I love watching Lamine a bit better. That's just what it is, man.
No, I completely understand that. But that's Rafinha. Hopefully this season he's able to, sort of replicate that same success. Because if Barcelona, if we are going to win trophies, we are going to need Rafinha firing on all cylinders and have that great performance necessarily. But moving on now, and moving on to a different topic, I want to be talking about another star in the world of football in Harry Kane. Because if you guys don't know, recent reports have come out in regards to Harry Kane having a potential move to Barcelona. Now, the report comes from Sport, and they say as follows. Let me bring it up right here. But it says, let me share it right here. Bayern Munich striker Harry Kane is seriously considering leaving the club next summer for a sensational move to Barcelona. The England's captain's release clause, set to become active in 2026, is expected to be around 65 million euros. Kane is weighing up the project of joining the Catalan Giants, with his representatives already holding discussions with Barcelona and several other clubs worldwide. Now, this is a move that obviously excites a lot of Barcelona fans. Harry Kane, I would say up there with Haaland right now, are the world's best strikers. This is the top elite. They're scoring goals for fun. The quality of the goals is absolutely amazing. And so it's hard to not get excited about this. But first, I want to get your opinions. Do you see any, I would say, weight behind this, any credibility necessarily?
I actually do. Like, listen, I think the I really think that Kane might be one of the options. I think that, let me just say this. I know we're not speaking about him, but I think it's gonna be Kane, Gurasi, and like Etta Eyong. Like, I think those gonna be those three names, right? And hopefully
Okay.
we get to the 1-2 rule, because I said the nightmare could just be Ferran Torres, like, and we get nobody, but that would be a nightmare. And let's not lie, Laporta has, I'm mixed with Laporta. He's my guy, he's my president, but he's let us down a bit sometimes, right? But going back to Kane, right? So, what was your question? Do you think it's gonna happen?
No. I was actually first, just do you think this is gonna happen? But I wanted to then switch the conversation into what do you make of Harry Kane coming to Barcelona? Would that move even make sense?
To be honest, I would love Kane. Like, I have to be honest. Like, the only question really is his legs. Like, I watched him in the Euros, and Kane did not have it, man. I don't know what it was. Kane in the Euros, he did not look good. It got to the point where Ivan Toney was playing better than him, and I was very concerned, because I've seen these early rumors: Kane to Barca.
No.
Should have happened. It would be a cheaper deal than like a Erling Haaland, or the fan base loves Julian Alvarez.
Yeah.
That's not going to happen, right? Kane is way more realistic, but I want to see. This is what's going to decide it for me. I really want to see in the World Cup, does he have his legs when he's playing for England, right?
Okay.
Listen, for me, I would take it regardless, because Kane, Lewandowski, I feel like you're getting the same amount of legs, but Kane is a better footballer. Like, right now, guys, better first touch, better final pass. The guy gets goals everywhere he goes. Tottenham Hotspur, they had some mediocre teams, and the guy every single year was 35 goals minimum, man. This guy's a guy that you bring to Barcelona, and that's your 35 plus goals guaranteed for at least 2 years. So for me,
Mm-hmm.
is it a long-term option? No. But is it an option that I do like? Yes. Lamine, could you imagine Harry Kane and Raphinha? That fits. Harry Kane and Rashford, that fits. Lamine, the Harry Kane, I can't lie, he's a Barca type striker. We
Yeah,
love
he
our
is.
strikers.
He
Oh,
is.
we love the strikers who can play with the ball a bit and score goals. He's a monster. I always say it. Harry Kane, if he had Karim Benzema, Luis Suarez, right, all of these guys' trophies cabinet, we're talking about him completely different. The
Yeah.
difference is that he played for Tottenham. I would love the move. I do think it's a real chance, but we'll see, bro. Let's see if the rumors get a bit stronger. But what are you saying about it?
No, absolutely. I mean, I don't think there's much to say about his quality. We know that Harry Kane is a world class striker. He's been doing that for many years. Now, right now, I'm looking at the stats so far of his season. His last season at Tottenham Hotspur, he scored 32 goals in 49 games. In his first season with Bayern, he scored 44 in 45. Basically a goal a game with 12 assists. In his second season with Bayern, 46 games, 38 goals, and this season he's scoring more than one goal a game. He's played 20 games so far, and he has 25 goals with 4 assists. Those are absolutely ridiculous numbers from Harry Kane. And as you said, he's the perfect Barcelona striker. He's very good on the ball. I think his link up play is one of the best in the world. His ability inside the box to finish is from basically any distance is just absolutely phenomenal. He's a world class striker. He's a world class striker, and I think this would be very similar to that of when Lewandowski first moved to Barcelona. Him coming for a stint after what's it called, his final years at Bayern Munich. It'd be a very similar transfer, and I do think it's realistic. If Barcelona are able to get that release clause or negotiate the price somewhere between 50 to 60 million, that's not something that is not feasible. We saw Barcelona, have the cash to pay that for Nico Williams, but the thing is, would we have the salary space in the wage bill in order to make that happen? We'd first have to have the definite departure of Lewandowski in order to bring in Harry Kane, but as well the departure of Ter Stegen. Those two players leaving the wage bill would clear up so much space, and that would allow the signing of Harry Kane to happen. And it's something that's super exciting. But as Van Lee, you do talk about the press. That's something that under Hansi Flick would need to be looked at.
Yeah, but this I was about to say that. Yeah, everybody will say, "Oh, the pressing is old." Guys, Lewandowski right now and Kane. At least Kane is giving me the highest quality on the ball when it comes to. I mean, both of them are still good finishers, but I'm talking about like first touch, passing, getting other guys to eat and play very good. I think Kane is clear, man, as a technical footballer. And at this stage right now, who's better, Kane or Lewandowski? I think it's Kane. I mean, Lewandowski, right? I think is going to be his final year, man. I don't think Lewandowski after this year is going to extend. And I think Kane, bro, I think this guy Kane, man, he is a world-class striker. This is a type of signing that Laporta might be talking about when it's like, for the presidential elections, trying to get a superstar. But I have a question to you. How long do you think Kane can do it for at Barca? Because Lewandowski, out of his 3 years here, I think he's had 2 good seasons. Like the first season was good, right? And the last season was phenomenal. The middle season was underwhelming. But how many good years do you think Kane can give Barcelona?
See, here's the thing, because when you talk about Lewandowski, you talk about his strengths. He's one of the greatest strikers of this past generation. He's up there with your Suarez's, when you're with your Benzema's. Him being an absolute monster. And I think his best trait was his consistency, because he is turning 37. He looks after himself, and when you talk about his past season, it was phenomenal. He was competing with Mbappe for the basically the Golden Boot and the Pichichi in La Liga. That's how good Lewandowski was last season. But at the same time, age does catch up to him, and I do agree. That second season, under Xavi, it was a little bit lackluster, but compared to his standards, because even though I think he scored plus 20 goals in all competitions for a player of Lewandowski's quality, of course it's lackluster, but still. It's absolutely amazing. And when you're looking at what Harry Kane can give you, him turning 33 in the summer, maybe to milk 4 years out of him. I don't know how realistic that is going to be. But I do see Harry Kane being sort of a stopgap in that striker position, because when you look at some of the other options, there's not much out in the market,
That's the thing, and it's like I mean, there's some people are saying Osimhen. I rather have Kane, man. I really rather have Kane. There's Guirassy. I mean, do you like Guirassy? Like, I have some takes I want to say on Kane, but I want to ask you, like, would you take Guirassy at Barcelona?
See, I do think that he'd be a good fit, but here's the thing: can he give you the same amount of goals that Harry Kane has? Because you sign Harry Kane and it's a guarantee. 25, 35 goals minimum, around that target. You're talking about a world-class striker who has been in the game for a significant period of time. When you're looking at Guirassí's numbers, yes, he's been doing well at Dortmund and at Stuttgart when he was at Stuttgart, but his numbers are not anything where you say, hey, this is a world-class elite striker. And you can have the same conversation in regards to Etta Eyong, because when we talk about some of the other options that Barcelona do have. You have to talk about Etta Eyong, who's doing absolutely amazing at Levante, and the price tag is much more feasible. It's something much more realistic. Price tag somewhere around 30 million euros, but there is some rumors that there's going to be negotiations, and you can basically get him for 10 to 15 million.
Yeah,
But Etta Young is a player who is talented, has interest from abroad, but is less of a guarantee than that of Harry Kane. And so when you're talking about Harry Kane, I think he's a guarantee, but a stopgap until we can make that like long term striker. And who knows what can
you know
happen.
what it is? It's just that Harry Kane's a world class player, man. And I can't lie, I love watching Harry Kane. He's a good striker. Legit. He's like
No.
I don't know how to say. I'm not trying to like bring pride or arrogance, but yo, this guy is legitimately Barcelona certified. Like he
Hmm.
walks in. He's a Barcelona striker. Suarez, you know what we loved about Suarez? For all the goals, he can also play. He had that little nutmeg
Yeah.
on David Luiz, you know what I'm saying, and put it in the top corner. Like that's the thing at Barcelona that we love. And when our strikers can be like almost like an extra player, that's awesome, man. Like I'm not gonna lie, I like I don't want to sound like I'm hating on Lewandowski or anything like that, but Lewandowski sometimes we play the ball into him and his first touch is off. Like I'm just talking
Yeah.
about throughout his time
Yeah.
at Barcelona. Obviously, still elite poacher. Lewandowski at Barca has been an elite poacher, but
Hmm.
when it comes to like an extra football player, that's what Kane's got. And
Yeah.
I just think Kane at Barcelona. If you just said, would you take Kane at Barcelona for 65? I'm doing it. I'm just doing it, man. I'm not really
Okay.
thinking too much about it, right? If you think too much about it, you might overthink the age. I still think Kane gives at least two, maybe three really good years. Probably 3 years. He could
Yeah.
probably do a job, but
Okay.
I mean, and then I think maybe Barcelona good financially around 2028. That's when we go for our future big name striker. That's what I'm thinking. But I mean, what are you saying about that?
Yeah. No, I mean, I completely agree. And this is where, I want to move and preface the conversation because I want to talk about Ete Young. I briefly discussed about him, but the Levante striker who's doing really well at Levante, scoring great goals and everything. Lots of people, lots of fans saying similarities to that of Samuel Eto'o. And, I see that. I'm looking at the highlights. Play style very, very, very similar. But Barcelona, they're going to have to make a decision because reports are saying that Ete Young, he wants to have his future decided by January. The price tag isn't too crazy, but at the same time, there's interest from abroad and there's interest from Real Madrid. And here's the thing: we already, missed out on Arda Güler. The price and the salary, that's going to be very hard for Barcelona to compete on. Ete Young's priority is Barcelona. You saw him wearing the Barcelona jersey and everything,
Yeah,
but he
he's a
wants to have
Barca
his
fan.
future decided. Yeah, yeah. He was a Barcelona fan. He's gonna want to have his future decided by January. And here's the thing: Marcus Rashford also has to be put into the equation because that's 35 million that's going to be spent if Barcelona do want to keep him. And so 35 million here. We're looking at a center back. If Barcelona's going to be going after Harry Kane, what happen with Ete Young? And so first, I want to get your opinions on Ete Young, and secondly, is he the long term option for Barcelona?
Okay, so with Ete Young, I do think he's a good player, right? Like I've only
Hmm.
really seen highlights, to be honest. I've the only game that I watched. I mean, he scored, I believe, against Real Madrid, but I mean they lost 4-1. And to be fair, he scored his only chance, so I guess that's more of a positive. But with Etta Eyong, right? I do think he's a good player. Can he lead the line for Barcelona? That's the big question. I don't know. Like, and I really don't know. If honestly, guys, if you ask me if I'm Jan Laporta, I don't know if Barca have the money, but I would love to bring in a striker, a serious striker, right? Like, let's just say a Harry Kane, right? And also bring in Etta Eyong because I think he should be like an understudy. Hey,
Okay.
for 2 years, this is Kane's team, and then chipping off the bench like what Ferran's doing, and then it's gonna
Yeah.
be your team,
Exactly.
right? But
Hmm.
with Etta Young, right, and you mentioned Arda Güler, right? Barcelona have missed out on some youngsters. I also want to throw in because some people might say, whatever, who cares about Etta Young, right? And what this really nags me, it's like I kind of get the same feeling of Julian Alvarez because remember Julian Alvarez, Barcelona could have got him, but
Yeah.
they decided to
Yeah.
go for the safe option, which was Ferran Torres at the time, right? And
Yeah.
I'm not hating on Ferran, right? But let's be honest, Julian
Yeah.
Alvarez is an unbelievable player. He's probably top 10 in the world. What a player he is right now, right? And sometimes, this might I don't want to listen. He might go to Real Madrid. He might go somewhere else. He might not even come to Barca. He might go to the Prem. But I just don't want to make that Julian Alvarez mistake again. And for if the price, I've seen rumors of 15 million. If the price is
Yeah.
15 million, I'm definitely doing it, man. Like I think that for 15 million, even if it goes wrong, we could resell him for another like 15 million minimum. We could get a refund
Yeah.
like FIFPRO Roque.
Yeah.
So I mean, what are you saying like on Etta Young?
See, here's the thing. I do agree that that's a risk that we can't take, but at the same time, we saw a risk taking with the Vitor Roque. And that's a risk that didn't pan out. That's money that Barcelona did spend, and there's lots of criticism that went towards Deco. And so things could turn out absolutely great. He could be absolutely fantastic. Very similar to that of Julian Alvarez, where Barcelona they take the risk. Real Madrid they're looking to get him, and we do absolutely great. I don't know if he can lead the line for Barcelona. And so in an ideal world, you sign both a tried and true striker in Harry Kane and you sign Etta Eyong. But I do feel that we're going to have to make some priorities or sacrifice something because, having two strikers would be ideal. You get rid of Lewandowski's wages, you get rid of Ter Stegen's wages. Maybe you have like one or two players leave from the squad, and you make space for them. But at the same time, what's going to happen with Marcus Rashford? Could Barcelona realistically in the summer spend 100 mil? And signing all three players, the wages, everything, and maybe look at another center back. These are all gaps in the squad and things that Deco and Hansi Flick they're gonna have to look at, and priorities are gonna have to be made. And so I do feel if Barcelona are serious about Etta Young in January and want to sign him, I think Harry Kane is going to be sacrificed, and it's going to be a combination of of Etta Young and Rashford. Or if Barcelona are not doing so well in the season, and with the Spotify cap now being reopened, Joan Laporta with the elections coming up, wanting to make a superstar signing, that's when you say, hey, you know what, Marcus Rashford, thank you so much for all the work that you put in. We're not going to sign you. Etta Young, you're absolutely great, but you're not the striker that we want. We go after that big name in Harry Kane, and
Yeah,
so
I mean,
that's I see another option playing out.
yeah, that's a good. That's you know what you're right actually because if you think about it, Etta Young, let's just give Barca the benefit of the doubt and say he's 15, right? 15 million.
Yeah,
Then Rashford's 35, right? That's 50 million right there. And then Kane's release clause is like 65. So that's like 115 million just right there between
yeah,
all three of those players. And that's saying if Barca can get Etta Young for 15. So you're right. It's going to be difficult. Somebody's probably going to be sacrificed, not only in the squad, but one of probably the transfer list is probably one of
yeah,
the potential transfers might be sacrificed. But I mean, I got a question for you real quick before
yeah,
we go back to Etta Young and Kane,
yeah.
right? You mentioned Rashford a lot. Like, are you assuming do you think Rashford is going to get signed to Barcelona?
See, I'm a fan of Rashford. I think he's been absolutely great. I think he's been our best attacker at Barcelona.
I
I do.
agree.
At times he's had moments where he I would say isn't in sync with the team. Where sometimes he wants to dribble, he wants to go past the player when he shouldn't, when he should slow it down. And have those connections. I see him sometimes make a 1-2 and it isn't crisp. But I understand that he's coming from a Manchester United team that was in chaos, and he's adapting into the team. So I'm not too critical and everything, but at the same time, a lot of fans say, hey, he could be the same player or have the same stint as an Aubameyang, where he came in, he was a hero for the team, and then you say, hey, thank you so much for your time. We're on to bigger things, because we don't know if this is going to be a purple patch. I still think that we have to wait until the end of the season before we make a conclusion on Marcus Rashford and what he can give to the squad. If we can get him for 30 million, I would bring him in. I'd bring him in. I do think that he's a player who can add value into the team, be a rotation into the squad and everything. But Barcelona, they have to look at the entirety of the squad. What is needed. A center back is needed, maybe a fullback, a long-term striker. That's something that has to be addressed. And there's so much in the squad, so much planning that has to be done. And this is a huge summer that's going to be coming up because Barcelona, so far in the season, we've had mixed feelings. It hasn't been rosy like last season. And with a player such as Lewandowski leaving, we have to, it's going to be a pivotal summer. We saw how pivotal the summer of 2022 was when you bring in Koundé, you bring Raphinha, and you bring in Lewandowski and Christensen. Those signings absolutely changed how Barcelona
Oh,
looked like. It,
huge, man.
it was
It's like
huge.
It's like, bro, like think about it. Raphinha is a huge signing, even though
Yeah,
Jules Koundé is in a bad run of form right now, and I'm very
yeah,
upset right now, bro. He's still been a very successful signing. Let's not even change the narrative. Koundé has been a success at Barcelona. He's been
yeah,
our best right back since Dani Alves, and he's
yeah,
not even a right back, but he got pushed, and he's been doing the job. It's just this
yeah,
period of time right now. Also, you say Andreas was serviceable, right?
yeah,
Um, Lewandowski, wow, like the last year he had was he surprised me. I was done with Lewandowski after that second year of Xavi. I was like, he's got to go. I was saying he's got to go with Xavi, and
yeah,
like he scored 43 goals. He absolutely shut me up,
yeah,
man. So Lewandowski has been huge. The time that he came, bro,
yeah.
I was in shock. I was like, we signed Robert
Mm-hmm.
Lewandowski. He was the best striker at the time, man. It was
Yeah,
him and it was Erling Haaland, right? It was
yeah,
the young one and it was the guy who's the veteran. And
yeah.
we signed a top five player in the world at that point. He was top five in Ballon d'Or, and he came to
Exactly.
Barcelona and he was a success. And who else was there? Kessié was serviceable, got
Cassie.
that
Mm-hmm.
iconic goal at the Camp Nou. That you know what I'm saying? That classical.
Yeah,
The streets will not forget Kessié's goal
yeah,
to
exactly.
legitimately seal the title. And then what was the? I mean, who else? I think we signed Pablo Torre. Even Torre, I mean, he
Yeah,
didn't get his chance. But yeah, that's the importance of how important and how impactful one amazing window can be.
yeah,
And since then, we have to be honest, right? I'll bring it back to Kane and Etta Young, but we haven't really had a big window since that window with
yeah,
Xavi. Like we had the year after with the loanees of Ayao Felix and Ayao Cancelo, but they
yeah. The
didn't stay,
Joaos.
right? And then Vitor Roque, we basically didn't even give him a chance. And then you have the summer window with Dani Olmo, and Dani Olmo was the only signing. That's the problem. Dani Olmo was solid. His
Yeah,
first year at Barcelona was amazing, in my opinion. I thought Olmo was underappreciated last year. Right now, yeah, he's having a horrible time, but last year was unbelievable, man. And the problem was that it was only Olmo. Nobody else. Pau Victor, I'm not really counting. He didn't play minutes, right? And then this summer, it's really just Young Garcia that's 100% going to stay long term. Nobody knows about Rashford. Nobody really knows
no.
Ronnie Barkley. We might flip Ronnie Barkley for like 12 mil.
Yeah, and that's crazy, you know, because when I'm looking at Rooney Baraji and you know, he hasn't really had much game time into the team, and so that's why I feel this upcoming summer is going to be so pivotal to for Barcelona's future, because lots of questions are going to be asked about, you know, a lot of players in the squad, questions about their future, and questions about Deco and Hansi Flick and how they're going to be approaching the next upcoming
Oh
seasons.
yeah.
Because if Barcelona don't have lots of success this season, next season we have to have a banger summer. You know?
No. I think regardless, I'm not gonna lie. I think that we low key when I'm looking back at the summer, I was thinking maybe we can do it one more time. Hansi Flick system's looking figured out. The same players. I think the film is there, man. And
No.
I think I hate to say it, but Real Madrid has caught up on us, man. They were miles behind, but look at the summer they had. They
Yeah.
Carreras. They bought the year before. They obviously had Bellingham. They're buying players left and right, man. And Barcelona, I feel like if we're not going to buy players and we have the same guy since 2022, well, of course Real Madrid are going to catch up. As much as I hate to admit, of course Real Madrid are going to catch up on
Hmm.
Barcelona. I think regardless of how the season goes, right now where it's a bit down, but I still believe in the boys still. I'm still giving Flick the benefit of doubt right now. But I do think Barcelona, we need to have a
Yeah.
banger summer window, man. I think at bare minimum, three serious players, not Ronnie Barkley, not alone. I'm talking about three like Yaron Garcia, Dani Olmos, like a Jules Koundé,
Yeah.
Raphinha type signings, like three legitimate signings at bare minimum. I feel like we need that, man, like genuinely, because let's say if we don't do that once again, we're not into a 1-to-1 rule. Now you said it, serious questions, man. Serious question about the finances, the squad building. Like, man, I've given Flick and Laporta. Some people say Laporta has failed Flick with the signings. I say this: maybe last summer, but the summer before, I thought maybe Flick understood what he was walking into. If we don't get Flick a signing, like a transfer window, like the third straight year, I mean, I feel like we're doing a disservice to one of the best. Like that, honestly, man.
No, I completely agree. And so, you know, to wrap up the video, you know, I ask you, what's going to happen in the striker position? You know, what would you do? You know, if you're John Laporte, do you say, hey, let's wait until let's wait and see how everything plays out? Do you already start planning for Harry Kane's inclusion? Do you say, hey, like as much as we'd love to bring in Harry Kane, I don't see it viable. Let's keep Rashford. Let's keep Etta Eyong. Let's see if we can, bring in another center back, because that's also a player that we do need. Because that left center back spot, Barcelona, they're shuffling defenders and everything because we haven't found a starting lineup.
That's the thing I was about to say. Like, we're talking about strikers and how important it is. We have other issues too. That's the only problem, man. It's like, yeah, we're trying to fix the door, but the roof is also leaking. You know what I'm saying? Like,
Yeah.
this is the problem. We got honestly, we got probably like 3 areas. For me, I say left-footed center back. We need one. We must get one, right?
Yeah.
Striker, we need one, right? We got to figure out this left wing future. Is it going to be Rashford? Is it not? That's 3 off the top of my head. And for me, honestly, I know it's a bonus, but I would like to have a better left back than Martin. Some people like Martin, some people don't, right?
Okay.
Can we sell him and bring somebody in? And then also, for me, honestly, I would like to have also another midfielder. Like, I feel like this Barca team lacks some physicality, but I know that the left back in the midfield, this is an absolute bonus. Like, you're not even seeing that much
Yeah.
rumors. So
Yeah.
right now, all we're seeing is left center back and striker. So at Barcelona, forget about left center back today. That's a topic for another day, right?
Yeah.
For striker, I would love Kane. If Kane's on the table,
Okay.
right, and if it's Kane or Etta Eyong, I'm going with Kane. I know it sounds crazy, but this is what I'm gonna say. Etta Eyong right now and Ferran Torres right now. Is it not is the gap huge? Is it a big difference between Etta Eyong and Ferran right now? I know nobody likes to. I feel like Barcelona fans, like, we all love to poke fun at Ferran the Shark. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
But it's a serious question. If Ferran and Etta Eyong right now, I feel like it's not a big difference. So for me, I would go for Kane. If it's between Kane and Etta Eyong, I'm going Kane. Kane and Guirassy, I'm going Kane. If it's Kane or somebody else, I'm probably going Kane. If you give me the option of Kane. Now, if it's a different Guirassy or Etta Eyong, now maybe that's a harder decision for if I was Jan Laporta. But I mean, what would you say? Who, if you were given the option, like, let's just throw in Guirassy, Etta Eyong, and Kane, who would you want if you're Jan Laporta?
No, I think you try to replicate the success that you had with Robert Lewandowski. You go big for
Exactly.
Kane. You go big
Exactly.
for
And
Kane.
sometimes,
You get him for 2 to 3 seasons, and then you look for a long-term option, because none of the strikers, I praise Etta Eyong because these stats are, for a striker playing for Levante, who's down in the bottom of half of the table. When we look at Levante, where they are, having 9 GA in 11 matches, that's absolutely great. But look at where they are, basically close to the relegation zone. That's absolutely fantastic work that he's doing. Obviously, you run the risk of saying, hey, we miss out on a future prospect, but you need tried and tested, strikers, a world class striker who can give you a minimum of 25 goals.
and
And
my bad for cutting you off, but
no,
I just want to say this, right? When it comes to when we made I'm gonna be honest. When we made
yeah,
the mistake for, we chose Ferran over Julian Alvarez. The thing is that gamble. The reason why it kind of rubs me off a little bit worse is because Ferran, it wasn't at the time, it was safe option, but it wasn't a world class player.
yeah,
It was a good player, but it's not world class. Where it's like, okay, the gamble on Alvarez is gonna hurt. Like,
no,
Kane and Etta Young, one guy is legitimately world class. He is
yeah,
the dream right now. So
yeah,
even if it doesn't work out with like Etta Young, Kane, man, that's a world class player. It's a
yeah,
different conversation for me. But for
hmm
me, you're asking me, I'm going Kane
no.
all day long, man.
Yeah. No, I mean, these are all questions, guys, that we're going to be having, throughout the season with Barcelona playing these games, question marks being half of the team, of the coach, of the board, of the club. These are all questions that we're going to be having, conversations, discussions, and everything like that. But I absolutely loved tonight's episode, guys. Hopefully you guys did too. Jonas, thank you again for coming on the channel. It was absolutely amazing having you on. I do want to do this more often. And as I said before, guys, guys, all his socials and his YouTube channel will be posted down below. Go subscribe to him. Go watch his content. Absolutely amazing. And just to round off, guys, before I do, this will be posted on Apple Podcasts and on Spotify. But Jonas, what's coming up on the channel? What's some exciting news or exciting videos that you want to tell the audience?
Okay, listen, man. I'm a Real Madrid hater as much as I'm a Barca fan. So I'm gonna be posting a match reaction after that Liverpool game, right? Hopefully they lose. Why not? You know what I'm saying? For the culture. To be honest, I'd rather have them lose. I'd rather have them lose like in the La Liga game. But match reaction of Real Madrid, match reaction of Barcelona against Club Brugge, watch along for Club Brugge. And bro, usually I outside of watch alongs, I also go live 1 to 2 times a week also, whether it's a Barca News Roundup or a panel show, right? So a lot of Barcelona content, right? With Kool-Aid Podcast, Barca Reacts. Listen, it's all love here, bro. We're all trying to build a Barcelona community, man.
Yeah, absolutely. And I love that message. But guys, hopefully you guys enjoyed it. This is going to be end for the episode. Thank you guys all for watching. Make sure to like, subscribe, and comment. And I'll see you guys all in the next one, boys. Peace out.